She decided to give Jeanette a bath. Like, how are you going to let your child get a pet and then not look up anything on the pet and just let it do whatever it wants to it? It wasn't like she gave it to the little girl without the parents' knowledge or anything, but as a parent, you know, you don't let your child go and do something like that. I don't know. You know, when you're going to take on the life of another being, you should probably know a little bit about that being and how it functions and operates, and, you know, kind of like Mogwai. You don't get them wet, right? Don't feed them after midnight. Those are important things to know. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. That one upset me a lot. It upset my little sister a lot. But yeah, she just loved Jeanette and she wanted her pet, and her parents, they couldn't have a dog or cats or anything like that. Yeah. Oh, well, I gave her a bath. It's like, sweetie, you don't give the guinea pig a bath like that. And if you do, you have to really, really, really dry them out. Like, how do you guys do it? Do you have to bathe the rabbits?
Nope, they take care of that all themselves. On occasion, pretty early, but if their diet's just not like sort of within that Goldilocks zone, their poops can get a little messy. And sometimes if that's the case, it gets on their butt and it gets on their tail, and you got to kind of wipe it off that away, but that's about it. For the most part, it's all self-care. And if you can get a bonded pair, well, then that's even better. If they can both take it upon themselves to clean the other, then that helps too. But no, for that reason, you can't really do a whole lot of bathing of the bunnies, just because you can't really get them that wet, because they will stay wet for weeks.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. My poor little furnace hasn't shut off in 2 days. Damn thing's not even paid off.
Yeah, they're amazing, aren't they? Machines. I like machines. I like electricity. I mean, a fire's nice and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, I'll take electricity. Oh, shit. Doing Walter?
Good. Thank you. I see some birthday wishes there. Thank you, ma'am. I think you might have been the first person I saw yesterday, actually. Liz, thank you. But it has definitely been like getting colder here. Now, I can't, whine. I hear what you're dealing with over there. I know what everybody up north is dealing with. My family in Oregon, they're dealing with ice and snow and all that. So I can't complain much. But keeping my cats safe that are outside is stressful during this weather.
But I couldn't even imagine having them outside.
Even though they can get out, so they have access to a shed that has 2 hot water heaters in it outside. It'll be below freezing for like days straight. So if we keep that area open constantly, then it's going to make our water freeze easier too. So they found their way into my back porch area where my washer and dryer sit. And I was trying to figure out, even though that is not outside. It's still freezing out there when I go out there, and it's cold. So I have plants out there that when it gets like this, I try to make sure they're not close to windows and all that stuff. So yesterday, Michelle I can't remember, a friend of hers on Facebook posted some stuff about clip-on lamps, metal shade lamps, work light with a heat lamp in it that you can clip and direct heat around, safer than having a heater, running in a place with two animals loose. So
yeah, reptile light works real well
a shot
because it's not really a light.
Right?
The reptile heater, it's just like one of those ceramic bulbs with doesn't emit light, just heat. Works real well.
Right. So we're going to see how that works.
I didn't even think about that. Do you guys keep your hot water heaters outside to reduce heat inside? So you have 2 hot water heaters in a shed outside.
Right.
Is that just so that...
Wait, I'm sorry. I was trying to read chat, trying to understand about what Axel was saying, what Laura's telling me here. What were you asking me? I'm sorry. About the hot water heater outside?
Is it because it reduces the heat on the inside of the house? It's like during the summers and stuff?
This house is from 1800s, I'm assuming.
Gotcha.
It most likely didn't have a hot water heater in it anywhere, so they built that shed farm out there. I guess. I don't know. This house situation is bizarre. So we share pipes with the house behind us in a way, and yeah, it's a whole thing. The house behind me and the house next to me and this house all used to be one house back in the 1800s before they sold it or whatever, and whoever owned the house split it up into 3 buildings to give to his kids for their wedding or whatever. So I'm sure in all of that craziness, things were rigged to work as best they could at the time. I don't know when that all occurred exactly. It's the story I've been given. So anyway, Axel, Laura, sorry, man, my brain is not awake today. Saying they're not hot water heaters. You don't need to heat hot water. Ha 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 ha. My brain finally woke up enough to realize what you're actually saying. So,
have you guys seen the electric vehicles in China explode? All the different videos out there. I mean, while they're
no, I definitely haven't seen that.
I just saw these 2 ladies stopped it like on the highway and jumped out. And the thing exploded. But they're exploding while charging it, and then they wonder why they're not allowed to sell them in the United States. 19,000 exploded last year in China. I don't know how many sales that's involved with. There's a lot of people in China, apparently. But yeah, their electric vehicle company, I mean, the EV sales over there are starting to turn all the way around because, yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah, check that out. It's not in the news very much, but you can find lots of videos.
Sort of like an external combustion engine.
Yeah, external combustion. It looked like Jeff Bezos may be trying to do something with Tesla. They said Tesla's already lost like over $70 billion this year. Somehow.
A shoe line, or what are they doing? Like some hoodies?
Yeah, I don't know. Tesla has lost over $94 billion in market valuation so far in 2024. We're only like 3 weeks in. And Jeff Bezos is threatening to steal Elon Musk's crown as the world's richest person. Oh, well, he's not going to take Tesla. He's just going to have your little fake richest person in the world thing.
I'm the best money hoarder.
And they're not even, though. That's the funniest thing about it. It's like, are you trying to tell me those Saudi princes and stuff like that don't have as much money as Tesla or Bezos? They're pulling out like billions of dollars worth of oil a day. I mean, they're probably beyond trillionaires now. Or the Rothschild family, their net worth? Come on. It would dwindle Elon and Bezos added together, probably. But I guess they're not regular people, maybe. I don't know how they look at it. Oh, that Peregrine? What's the name of that stupid thing?
There was one?
The Falcon? Or you mean them birds in the snow? What the hell are you talking about?
The ailing Peregrine moonlander on path to crash into Earth. Astrobotic says.
Oh, damn. That is a failing lander. If your failing lander, your lunar lander is crashing into Earth and you fucking missed.
You did miss.
Peregrine will likely burn up in Earth's atmosphere, the moonlander's builder said. The beleaguered private moonlander Peregrine, which suffered a fuel leak shortly after its launch last week, is now on a collision course with Earth. Launched towards the moon on January 8th, but suffered a critical fuel leak shortly after, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, that one didn't work. Wah, 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 wah. It will likely burn up in Earth's atmosphere. What does that mean? Or it's likely going to get that.
Did you hear that? Oh, sorry.
I
Cat
did.
jumped up when the bell went off. She heard that in my ear. That's crazy. She's looking around like, what was that?
Yeah. It was about 242,000 miles from Earth. Oh, poor Peregrine. It's a cool Falcon, though. Supposedly, it's
Wasn't that one of 007's women or something? I don't know.
It probably was.
I used to read the Ian Fleming novels back in the day. And I remember that name and me going, how do you pronounce that name? So it was one of those names I would just read without reading, just go by it. And that was that name that I didn't know how to pronounce. Pretty sure. Maybe not. I don't know.
And I've been watching Senate hearings and stuff like that.
That sounds fun.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Actually,
insomnia kicking in.
No, like the movie Idiocracy. Like, we're not that far from there. You go watch people speak in the 80s in these things, and they have this thing called decorum. I don't think they teach decorum anymore in our society, and we're seeing it at the highest level, supposedly, you know. It's insane watching these people. I remember watching these people speak back in the 80s and stuff, and it was like almost hard to understand. You know, I was a child and whatnot, but you would hear these people talk, and it was a lot more elegant, and, you know, they didn't use slang words, and there wasn't as much name calling. If there was a jeer at somebody, it was kind of, you know, not so pointed. It could cut them and, you know, really get to the point, but it wasn't, you know, they didn't have to lower themselves. to, you know, poke fun of or whatever, or call somebody out. And now it's different. It is. We're like halfway to idiocracy style.
Halfway?
Maybe a little more.
Probably a lot more.
It's just amazing to see, you know, I don't know, it's weird. It's just weird. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Politics, it's a pony show. That's for sure.
Well, this is fucking ponderous, man. Ponderous, fucking ponderous.
Josh's got the hat on.
Yeah.
Looks like you're from Mother Russia.
Creeping thing.
Should see me once I put my coat on.
Nice.
It's a little ridiculous.
But it's warm though.
Oh, it is. One of the early, almost bomber jackets, like from the guys that would fly way up in the airplanes with no heater. So it's big and it's got the almost matching type fur around the collar and fur around the cuffs. So big and warm. Perfect for -3-degree weather.
So Elon Musk, SpaceX plans moon base, Mars City, and terraformed Mars.
Sure. I'm going to subdivide Neverland, motherfuckers.
They've already increased the communication bandwidth, though, Josh.
Well, there you go. I mean, you've got communication bandwidth. What the fuck else do you need?
There will be 150 launches of Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy in 2024. Now, wait a minute. 150 launches in 1 year, and you've done 0 so far, right? Or have they? I don't know. But I'm finding it hard to
They've
believe.
blown up a bunch of shit. They hadn't made it to space just yet, though.
So they're going to increase the speed and cadence of Starship launches. And didn't they just have a thing about the environment and how we can't launch so many rockets all of a sudden? That was like 6 months ago or something, wasn't it? And now they're going to do 150 a year? Right. Now they're going to deploy version 3 Starlink satellites and start testing the propellant transfer in the next launch. Good Lord. Yeah, they're really looking ahead, I think, a little too far. Didn't the last one they send up blow up? Am I crazy, or didn't the last one blow up?
Or did it just get scrubbed before it did? I don't know. I can't keep track of who's blowing up on the pad, who's blowing up in the air, who's scrubbed on the pad, who gets scrubbed before it even gets built. I mean, you just can't keep track of all the failures.
What did they say? Space is hard. Oh my goodness, this is just ridiculous. So we have our moon base here. You don't get to the moon again. Then I'll get excited about your moon base. No, I still won't, but people might.
But you've got the Mars City to be excited about too, don't you know? And it's got the expanded communication bandwidth, so there's that.
I heard about that.
I'll start getting excited when they lie and say they've gone to the moon again. I'm telling you, you could probably make a lot of money if you could find some suckers out there betting on whether or not we're going to land on the moon next year or whenever. What do they say now? It's 2025 now. We're sending people around the moon at least.
And
allegedly,
you can't swing a heliocentrist without hitting a sucker around here that'll believe anything they tell you.
Yeah, no, there's gambling sites, and Jaron made some money doing it. Like, okay, I'll bet you that they don't do it by so and so, and he gave him even an extra year. I think he made not that much, like $600, something like that. But yeah, if you can get it promoted. Did I hear this right? A WNBA team going to be playing. Some guy put up $1 million. He said he's tired of listening to them complain about not making enough money. He's like, here, play a state championship boys high school basketball team. And these were the girls from the Las Vegas professional team. I guess they won the championship. Like, if you beat the boys, you get $1 million. And I don't know if you know this, but like high school boys basketball is not that far off from the NBA, really, as far as, entertainment value, at least. These guys are flying high and dunking and doing all the crazy stuff, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I used to watch the Windy City Classic tournament every year in Chicago, and that was like watching Division I college kids play ball. But yeah, you get these best teams, modern day. I don't even think modern days would be allowed to play because I don't know. I don't think they're even I know they're in some state, but they play like mostly tournament type. They don't play like this high school from this area and this. They play like all across the nation. So yeah, if you just take a regular state basketball team, though, just a regular pick a state. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but yeah, they're going to play them for $1 million supposedly, and it's going to happen. I didn't think they'd let them do it. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be much different than like when they did this in soccer. The women's Australian team was beat by a 15 and under group of boys. And it wasn't like 3-1 or something like that. It was like 12-0, something like that, or 8-0. I forget. It's been done a couple times. One time they played older people and got destroyed, and one time they played younger people and got destroyed. But yeah, it's different. I'm sorry. Men and women are different. That broke up the sport leagues.
Who was it that the Globetrotters play all the time?
Yeah.
Just, they're the heel that's just supposed to make the Globetrotters look good. I think that's what the entire WNBA league has become.
And it takes time. I mean,
is it the Generals? The Washington Generals?
The Washington Generals. That sounds right? Or I think so. I think Washington is definitely right.
I'm trying to look it up. Oh, yeah, there it is. Washington Generals.
I got to see Globetrotters when they came in for one time.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen,
I did back when it was still like the originals, Metal Arc. And The whole crew.
I think they didn't play the Washington. They played it was like a charity thing, and they played the Chicago Bears. They said, right? But none of the starters were there for the Bears. It was all like the backup guys playing and stuff like that. But yeah, that was pretty neat. Yeah, I was so excited to see Walter Payton and Jim McMahon and Richard Dent, Willie Gault, and all these Steve McMichaels. None of them were there. Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. I wonder what kind of money those guys make, the Globetrotters. Because they are like super talented. It's amazing watching them do that stuff with the basketball. And they've been around for how long, Walter? Like since you were...
in 70s, they were kicking already when I was a kid.
I mean, they were already guest starring on Scooby-Doo by the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see, when did the Globetrotters start?
$1920s is what I'm saying. In Chicago, a small group of athletes from Wendell Phillips High School basketball team in the 1920s is where the Globetrotters' origin began.
Oh, and one back in the 20s. Why don't we take a little break while we've hit that time?
We can do that.
It's too far away from us.
I was ahead of the game. I don't remember where I put those songs, but I put them somewhere.
Sir?
That's a question right there. What was that Harlem Globetrotters' original name? I'm not going to tell you.
I know,
What
you
a
know.
dick. All right, well, y'all come up with the answers. Put your answers in chat, and we'll see if we can't have somebody guess the right ones, because I'm sure no one's going to Google that.
No. I'm not trying to look it up. What are you talking about?
But my coffee cup is empty, so it's about time we take a little break.
Yeah, I need that too. Big time.
These are some interesting lyrics you got here too, Walter.
Yeah.
To kill you with your smelly fingers. Your smelly fingers from the sex right of Christmas Day. You say you're feeling guilty. You're feeling guilty cause you got me shining on your face. You go to church and light a candle. And then you're blinded by the light from all the golden views. The devil snapped me at your toes now. Because the angels can't be bothered to live up to you. They're selling Jesus again. They're selling Jesus again. They want your soul and your money, your blood and your bones. They're selling Jesus again. Selling love to you. Selling love. She's buying it now. You're wasting all the money in the world belong to you. You're crucified upon your own cross now. You give the money to the white man in the white limo. The kind of blood is always been made. They made him up the road and brought to keep you on your knees. They get the theories from the same place. I feel the chance to get the money left on the beach. They're selling Jesus again. They're selling Jesus again. They want your soul and your money, your blood and your bones. They're selling Jesus again. Selling love, selling love, love.
Oh, that's how you start off a Monday morning.
Fucking A. Little band called Skunk and Nancy there. I found this particular song and that particular band. There was a movie that came out in the 90s. I'm going to say 94, 95-ish. Damn it. My brain just went blank on the movie. Anyway, it was in the future, and they were like selling people's dreams to each other. What was the movie? I'm going to look it up now. Damn it.
Remember my dream from last night? Something weird happened, dude.
Strange Days?
What happened? That's the one, Strange Days. Thank you. I was trying to get there. So, yeah, Strange Days, that song came on. The band was on stage in the middle of this big event. So I flipped, immediately went and looked up the band on the YouTube or whatever was handy at that point in time, and fell in love with that song because it was a heavy song, an amazing, great female vocalist, and the musicians were extraordinary. Then I bought the album, and it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, she is fucking amazing vocalist. There's a song that we'll be playing sometime coming up in the next show that will show her range quite differently. Her name is Skin. But yeah, she is quite a front person. Anyway, highly recommend digging deep into their catalog. You will be quite astounded at what you come across.
So in my dream last night, I became lucid. I realized I was dreaming. I remember this now. And as soon as I mentioned it to the other person, I forget who it was, but I was just like, it just dawned on me like, wait a minute. Like, I don't even know if the person was still alive. That's the thing. I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. I'm dreaming. And you get to be here with me in my dream. And as soon as I said that to them, they disappeared right in front of me. What does that mean? When I started lucid dreaming, the person, because we were walking somewhere, and as soon as I told them that I knew I was dreaming, they disappeared. I don't know. I remember being very disappointed in my dream, though. Like, damn. What does that mean, Walter?
I don't know. Offhand, I guess it's just that was someone that was not there in the dream. So when you became lucid, they were not needed anymore. I'm not sure.
It was almost like they became scared of me, I think. Once I realized I was lucid dreaming. I just remember him disappearing, just looking at me like, oh shit.
This dude's nuts. I'm out of here.
Yeah. And then they were like, whoop, gone. Yeah.
Sorry.
This fool thinks he's in a dream.
Oh, I did start flying. Holy shit. When I went back into my dream, I still realized I was lucid dreaming. My brother was there. I was in some school building. And he walked in, and I told him, hey, I'm dreaming right now. And he was like, no, you're not. And then I just started flying right there. I was like, yeah, I am. Yeah, that was wild.
So now what you have to do is you have to take your attention, not the first attention, but the second attention. And you have to apply that same feeling you experienced when you were flying during your waking hours. I'm reading some Carlos Castaneda right now, The Eagle's Gift. And in the book, that's exactly what they're working on, using different types of dreaming, which are just different states of consciousness that you're able to access. But in this book, it's a lot more driven with self, with the energy that a warrior contains and builds up and all that. It's not as based on hallucinogens as some of his first books. It's really great book. But yeah, it was interesting that just as we were talking about all that on the last show, is about the point I got to it in that book. It's just the coincidence was too epic.
Wow. And I remember because I woke up for a second right after that person disappeared. Damn, I was lucid dreaming and I got woken up before I could do anything cool. All right, sorry, I'm just going, it's all flooding back. Like, you know how that happens sometimes?
I do indeed. So I see something there in chat that I had actually gotten from Michelle last night. She is always sending me interesting things she comes across on TikTok. Oops, sorry. Got a hangnail. Anyway, it's a video of a parking lot NASA has. And the parking lot is full of old 1970s vehicles. Just about every kind of vehicle you can come up with. It's sitting in this parking lot that NASA owns. EMP proof, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I saw someone.
Really works. Go ahead.
I saw somebody in chat talking about that earlier.
Mm-hmm. I think it was Israel that brought it up that reminded me. I had actually forwarded the video to you guys last night, but I didn't send it yet till we got up because I didn't want to wake y'all up. And I mean, we could play the video, but it would be, less than entertaining, I'm sure, on the radio.
Wow. So some scientists film plant talking to its neighbor, and the footage is incredible. Now, it's not so much an audible thing as it is, they have a fine mist of airborne compounds, supposedly. Because plants are surrounded by a fine mist of airborne compounds that they use to communicate and protect themselves. Kind of like smells, these compounds repel hungry herbivores and warn neighboring plants of incoming assailants. Because there's a video on it, I'm definitely going to watch this one later. But yeah, they took the tomato plants and some mustard plants and that some caterpillars on the tomato plant leaves, supposedly, and the tomato plant releases some things and the other mustard plant receives them. And yeah, I'm gonna check this out. Huh. Yeah, now that's the kind of neat stuff that I don't mind, you know, taxes and stuff like that going towards. That's what it, you know, the advancement of knowledge, of actual things that we could possibly use one day. I mean, how much cockroaches reproduce while on cocaine is probably not that important in the grand scheme of things. Plants communicating and us being able to understand how and maybe possibly one day communicate with them, that would be pretty cool. Huh. Or it's all just clickbait and they're just making shit up. That's the fun about living in today's world, right? Actually, I don't know. I think it's always been like this. Humans have always been human. Just our nature. And it's not like some are good and some are bad. It's like this person at this time of their life was pretty good. And then they hit this patch here where they were pretty bad. And then they turned around and got pretty good again, you know, in the grand scheme of things or whatnot. But yeah, it's not a person by person. It's a, you know, this one person and all these different times of their lives. Like they've been different people almost. Yeah, that's why I never give up on anybody. Everybody can change. Shit, I changed. I don't think I was going to make it to 30.
And look at us now.
Get us now. I've been watching a lot of, I forget the guy's name, but he debates evolutionists. And he's a chemical biologist. He like builds complex synthetic compounds, or, you know, they can do stuff like, he's like, I'm not the only one doing it. There's a lot of people like me out here doing this. But he's still just so amazed at a cell, you know, just a cell, a single-celled organism cannot be recreated. You know, that we can't take these, you know, these amino acids and these other things here and these other things here and mix them together in a way to where it makes a living thing. We cannot do that. He's like, yeah, he's like, and the chances of it happening randomly, yeah, that's out the window. But he goes in, he's really, really good at it. Because he's one of those people, kind of like Austin Whitsitt, will dissect the heliocentric model and the whole history of it. He's gotten really, really good at that. This guy dissects evolution that way. He knows all the quotes by all the famous physicists and, you know, chemical biologists and all that stuff. Yeah, he knows all that stuff. And that's really, I mean, that's how they taught people to debate back in the day. You didn't go in just knowing the side that you support on a topic. You had to know just as much about that side as, or just as much about the opposing side that you take as you do about this side. You should be able to argue for both sides. Then you actually, you know, grasp the whole concept
Right.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Maybe change your mind. Like, hey, this other side has a few points here, you know? But yeah, not just digging your heels in the sand and saying, well, I'm going to be on this side. Well, okay, what happens when, your professor says you have to debate from the other side? You just tell him no. I don't believe that. He's like, yeah, this is debate class. This isn't about your beliefs. I bet lawyers who did good in debate ended up being good trial lawyers. Man, I don't know. I'm not even going to say this because we're on YouTube. Never mind. Some of the stuff coming out now is just wild. Just wild. Isn't that horrible? They can talk about all this shit on the news, but we can't read it verbatim or else we get kicked off. Poor medical misinformation. It's like, okay, where do I get the medical information I can share with other people from? Because obviously I can't get it from any of these sources. We read them word for word, and you strike us down for it. So YouTube needs to let us know where we have to go to get this kind of information to redisperse to the public. Maybe we need to do it like JP Reacts does. He just uses satire and sarcasm the whole time and agrees with it all, but says some really outlandish things about it at the same time. I don't know. There's got to be a way around it. Maybe if we play Jeopardy and answer in the form of a question, just everything is a question. We're not making any statements at all. We're just asking. I don't know. There's got to be a way. Are we going to be back on our channel soon? The main channel?
Heck yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know when. I don't think it's been deleted, so there's that. It's all relative.
Oh, and it's so funny, all these, like you could tell the gas companies own these media outlets, and the EV companies own these media outlets. Because half the articles talk about how bad EV cars are and, how much trouble people are having with them. Then you come over here and it talks about the great market growth in the EV sector and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this one's called Clean Technica. Clean tech. I wonder what side they're on when it comes to the whole combustible engine compared to electric. Oh, I saw this cool thing you can hook up to a phone. I don't know if it's just for iPhone. I think he has an Android, but it's a thermal camera that you just hook onto like the charging port on your phone. It like connects to your phone, like right on the bottom. It's just this little rectangular box, and it's got two different camera eyes on it. I think he said he paid like $400 for it though, but it worked really well. Where I was looking around the house with it, and you could see the people there, and then the blue in the background, and like the heater was like dark red. And you could see it getting.
So was
it
this
was really neat.
Like night vision, or was this like that forward-looking infrared? Was this like a FLIR camera where it shows heat signatures, or is it just amplifying light?
Heat signatures.
That's
it was
crazy.
heat. He bought it for the moonlight test, and he said he's had varying results, like from doing it outside and inside. Sometimes the tree shade, it wasn't all that great, not much of a difference. He would do it inside, and he would get more of a difference and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what he bought it for. But he uses it to when he's working on cars, seeing where heat might be escaping from here or there or whatnot, looking for leaks and stuff like that. But yeah, it was really cool. I couldn't believe how well it worked. And well, then he told me the price. I was like, yeah, okay, it better work then. It wasn't like a $50 thermal add-on thing. He paid over $400 for it.
Should have checked Temu.
And there you go. With only their paw prints, researchers study the elusive bobcat. No, you don't. What are you studying? Where they went? How often they pooped? There's probably a bobcat living not too far from you. Do you live in the United States?
What?
Probably some coyote.
Probably what they were establishing was the distance between that bobcat and other objects.
Yeah, I saw one bobcat. They told me they were up in Indiana my whole life. And I saw one. I think I was like 38, 39 years old. 40 years I lived up there, I saw one. And I believe it was running from something. I saw it cross right next to some railroad tracks. Yeah, they're definitely out there. And they say the same thing about coyote, too. They say there's coyotes in New York Park in New York City.
New York Park? I didn't.
So real quick, we're at the top of the hour. Before we go over, I did a little digging, just trying to get some verification on like what is going on and when we might have access again and all that. Hi, Iron Realm Media. This is from YouTube. Hi, Iron Realm Media. To help keep our community safe, we limit some of our more powerful features to channels who have built and maintained a positive channel history or who have provided verification. As of now, December 22nd of 2023, your channel doesn't have sufficient channel history. Full stop.
I was thinking about this the other day. There's probably very few channels out there that have quite the server space that we take up. I mean, really.
Yeah.
You can't go back
truly
half dozen years and find somebody that's still putting out hours and hours every week. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's very few. Well, I guess that's just it. We just aren't live streaming enough for YouTube.
Apparently, we don't have the history we need. Yeah. All right. So 5 times a week. Yeah.
They need more iron in their diet.
Yeah, they do. What's up, Travis? Can't even write this shit. So they do and email it to you. Oh, man.
Hey, Josh, I don't know if you had a song lined up or not, but I posted one if you need one.
I got one this one. I will check it out for the next, though.
Yeah, I turned in my drop of blood. Didn't you guys turn in your drop of blood? I thought we'd get through this without a hitch with YouTube this time.
I mean, Quentin wasn't my first child.
You're working in one of the YouTube mines right now?
I mean, I did have my intent, but then I also had my blood. So we just have to figure what goes over what. That's probably a pretty niche joke that not many people would understand.
Not at all, but I love it. Of course, that's our next strike, but hey.
Right.
All
right, well, let's take a little break.
inciting pagan rituals.
That's us. Not Christmas. Not Valentine's Day. ironrealmmedia. Anyway, we're going to take a little break. It is now at the top of the hour. This is a artist that my son turned me on to.
Yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny, you smiled at me and relieved the pain. Yeah, dark days are gone, the bright days are here. Come on, man. My sunny side shine.
Same old shit. I've been living steady, wobbling on the edge, chasing life around in circles, trying to decompress my head. I feel it get intense. Choose to break my bread and spread it round. Take my every single thought and sit in pen and jot it down, cause it's the truth to me. You should see it's all that ever helped. Held my shadow world together when I knocked it off the shelf into the blackness. Tripping over broken hearts and homes and getting close enough to turn that kid inside of me to stone, and I'll admit it, cause I was never taught to give it up. Still an ocean full of drug addictedness, encouraged blood without a paddle. It took a lot of faith to fight my battles and tackle a couple habits I never thought that I'd have to, but did. Bottle the water under the bridge and toss another written page of my history to the wind when it blows, cause all this disaster has led me home and left a lot of room for me to learn to grow. Hey, you are not alone. Grab hold of yourself. I know what it's like to get blown away. I know you done your dirt and you dug your graves, and it feels like it won't be safe. I say grab hold of yourself and face those days when you feel like it always rains. I've seen the sunny side of heaven, which I never thought of finding myself. Never thought of finding myself. Not your same old song. I've been writing on the mirror with a razor blade and chased away the devil in my brain that played me like a spade. Cause day to day, painted jaded faith issues, a shaded gray and coward. Hid behind emotion just to play it safe upon. Slowly turning victim to my wrongs. I had to wake up all alone to finally figure out my faults. In a house of haunted love, the past will keep me warned and explain me. Even if you're listening to the storm, I found a purpose. And if you heard this, then sit it down. Pick its brain until it opens up and redirects the sound. The conductor, frozen thunder rumbling through the ground. With a perfect little twist of that suited armor and crown you created. Built for denying it, hiding the cuts and bruises due to the self-inflicted bone crushing anxiety. I'm with you, so understand that all of this within you has chiseled you a flower out of stone. Yeah, you are not alone. Grab hold of yourself. I know what it's like to be blown away. I know you done your dirt and you dug your graves, and it feels like it won't be safe. I say grab hold of yourself and face those days where you feel like it always rains. I've seen the sunny side of heaven, which I never thought of finding myself. Never thought of finding myself. You are not alone. No, you are not alone. No, you are not alone. No, you are not alone. Nah, you are not alone. No, you are not alone. Come on, yeah. Grab hold of yourself. I know what it's like to get blown away. I know you've done your dirt and you dug your graves, and it feels like it won't be safe. I say grab hold of yourself and face those days where you feel like it always rains. I've seen the sunny side of heaven, which I never thought of finding myself. Never thought of finding myself.
Not to worry. I have a permit.
This just says I can do what I want.
Good morning. It's here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Some reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know. We believe that dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, I'm afraid of course, there is no dark matter out there. So what? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
And welcome back. We are at the halfway point. You're on freeworld.fm. Tuned into the IRONWORX. I got too many mouses.
Yeah, I like that. Who was that again?
That was an artist called Greaves. Greives. Nice. He's got some really good ones out there. I had never heard of him until my son said, hey, here's somebody I really like. And yeah, he's got several out
that's
there.
me and my son. He always brings me something different that I had never heard of, and it's always interesting. Prof was the last new thing he sent my way.
Prof is good too.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew you would know. He actually went and saw him live and got like some kind of special setup where he was like met him and got some unreleased track on a disc and all kind of cool shit. Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Now, when you hear the word budget cuts, right? We're talking NASA here. And they're postponing all these missions and maybe canceling missions that they've already spent, hundreds of millions, if not close to $1 billion on because of budget cuts this year. Now, to you, what would a budget cut be?
A reduction in the budget you had from the previous year.
Yeah, that's what I would think too, right? That you had less money than you had the year before. So NASA received $25.4 billion last year for 2023. And this year, they proposed allocates. So allocates means that they get, right? It's not a request when something is allocated to you.
It doesn't mean that they get it. No, it means that it is set aside for them. I think is what an allocation is. You can have money allocated to you that you never receive.
Okay. Well, that makes, we'll see what happens then, because they're proposing to get 27 billion this year. I mean, how do they not know by now? We're in 2024. These guys in Congress need to pass a fucking budget already. It's been decades, guys. You have like one main job. That's like your main job is to, set the budget limit and approve it and all that. This is crazy. So yeah, they tried to get 27.7 billion, but it doesn't. It says now they're cutting NASA's budget. Give them slightly less than they earned in 2023. I'm not seeing any. Yeah. Okay. 25 billion. So it's such a huge budget cut. They went from 25 billion or 25.3 billion to 25 billion this year for NASA. So yeah, they're saying that they're not going to be able to do the which one was it? The Mars sample return mission. So they built this rover and gave it the ability to take samples on Mars, and it was going to be a big thing. And now we got to get the craft there so we can go and pick up the samples and return it to Earth. But that might not happen at all, even. Yeah. And they're saying that they have less than a third of the budget than they requested. Well, that's not true. 2 billion of 27 billion is not a third of your budget. Just saying. Okay. So yeah, NASA's crying because they're not getting paid enough money. They need more. Didn't India send there something to the moon, like $74 million, something like that? Less than what NASA spends in a day. Yeah. If I was in charge, that'd be the first thing I would cut. NASA. I mean, we'd still need, all this, the balloon programs and stuff like that, gathering data for weather and blah, 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 blah. So we'd still need somewhat of NASA. But this whole go into space and all that stuff, yeah, cut it.
I mean, given the current economy, you'd think that they would at least temporarily learn to make cuts.
Yeah.
Like if you're at your house and suddenly let's say the price of everything jumps up, but your income does not. You just have to learn how to spend less, not more.
Yeah, there might be some things that are on your list that aren't, necessities, that are more like, my chocolate eclair or my Thin Mints or something like that. You might have to do without those for a little while until something changes.
Right, until you can get your shit back on track.
Yeah. And that's the real world. Is really getting to Mars like that important? I mean, you went there, found no signs of life, no water, can't breathe the air. What the fuck are we doing? Why are we throwing billions and billions of dollars a year at this pipe dream?
Because the planet Earth is dying.
Yeah, they've been telling us that for like a long time now.
Overcrowded, water's running out.
Ice Age coming. Back in the 70s, that was all the rave. Ice Age coming, and by 1990, the polar ice is going to melt.
I just saw a preview for a movie coming out this year. Fuck, what was it? Was it a cartoon or what was it? And what was it? It was something that came back around. It's like a sequel, and it's like an ice age. So they're predicting that the Earth. Oh wait, I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, they're predicting an ice age. In the movie. So the entire world is going to be frozen over in like a reset. What is this movie called?
Sure.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing?
What's up, Uncle Lego?
What is up, Nuka-Cola?
All good, brother. I'm watching SpaceX launch its 22 Starlink satellite from California, and apparently nails the landing.
Amazing. Just amazing.
Right now, all I see is the booster thruster thing at the back, and everything else is in complete darkness, and it's just shining, because, fire.
What a great shot they always get on that, isn't it? I don't Yeah. I can't get started on SpaceX. Again. Yeah, it's amazing. All that money and effort on a fairy tale, on Narnia.
Well, at least this way you don't have to spend your tax dollars. Elon Musk will do it for you.
No, don't fool yourself. He gets money from the U.S. government.
Does anybody know the specific amount that he's supposed to get?
I know it was like $400 million a year or something like that. But NASA there's like 300 and something NASA employees that pretty much control the whole system over there.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, then.
Yeah, it's part of their agreement or whatever. Yeah. It's a government agency without being a government agency.
Okay.
Yeah, there's, I think they wanted to go private. So 50, 100 years down the road, they can, oh yeah, well, we weren't lying to you. By the time we all got here, it was already a private thing and we had no control over it.
Yeah, I suppose if it's a private company, there's no government oversight.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money in fake space. A lot of money.
I should get in on the action. Get an African rocket. It goes to space.
Oh, it was the new Ghostbusters that's coming out.
New Ghostbusters?
Yeah, it's called Frozen Empire.
It's not going to be
Sorry, it doesn't look very good, but the whole thing is that the entire Earth is going to be turned into a frozen wasteland.
And then you hunt ghosts.
Who's is it going to be the girls again?
No, I saw Dan Aykroyd. I saw the three of them: the black guy, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray. But I think that they're probably just going to be like cameos because the other characters were in the preview more than they were. But I don't know.
Huh.
But hey, can I bring up some? I don't know. I didn't hear that clip. If you want to play that again, I lost it. Can I talk over it?
No, I killed it. It was
sorry about that.
Mispress.
So, there's a channel, Tomb of Illumination, by Lindsay Harris, the guy from New Zealand, and he's basically mapping out, the entire electromagnetic toroidal concept of flat Earth. Have you guys followed his philosophical, spiritual interpretation of our system?
What's his name?
His name is Lindsay Harris. He was on Glowbusters once.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's got a YouTube channel called Tomb of Illumination.
Yeah.
EL-Illumination.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his hardest, to try to approach this from a metaphysical interpretation of our physical world, and I don't have a problem with that. But it's just really interesting, the way he's trying to explain how we have a, for instance, we have a two-star rotation system, so that the vortex that exists at the center of the Earth, where the North Pole is, creates a projection of our sky in the northern hemisphere, and then when you get to the tropics, you have a gap where Orion exists, right? Because everything everything above Orion in the northern hemisphere is our zodiac, right? And then you've got the tropics, and there's nothing there but Orion. And then you've got the southern hemisphere, which he then purports is simply a concave reflection of the northern hemisphere. So it's going to be distorted because it's concave. But nonetheless, it's just an interesting, approach. I'm just wondering what you guys think about that whole concept per se.
Yeah, he's got an interesting mind.
He's definitely original.
Yeah, he needs a little more of the applied physics knowledge.
Right, yes.
Yeah, because he says certain things just don't jive in actual physics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's all I've done. But if you watch his reactions to me, he calls me an idiot. He tells me I'm stupid, and I'm like, I'm just asking you to demonstrate your claim. Like, if you can't demonstrate, like, I hear what you're saying, and it sounds great. And I said, but all you're doing is giving me a cheaper version of NASA. You're just drawing pictures on a fucking whiteboard. And
show me.
I get, yeah, right. Show me, right? Yeah, and he just glitches out. I just wish he would say, I can't right now. I'd be like, I'm fine with that. Just,
But don't tell me so matter of fact either.
Right.
That's one thing I don't like. If you ask a question, that's great. I love when people ask questions and ponder upon them.
I know, right? I dig it when people ask me questions because then it helps me refine my answer.
But yeah, just sit here and tell me this is how it is, and I don't take questions. That's not going to work with me. Yeah, interesting thought.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling, the fact that he's, mapped all this stuff out. But what I find interesting, too, is that a lot of his stuff isn't simply based on, conceptual ideas of what a person can see from his perspective, but he does a lot of correlation with, say, the Egyptian Book of the Dead and all of these other esoteric writings, where he basically makes the statement that all of these texts and stories, like the Odyssey and the Iliad, he said, are just mythological stories about Orion and about the great dragon, and it's all zodiacal. It's all having to do with so when he talks about Egypt and he talks about the hieroglyphics, he points at certain things and he says, like, look, they're describing the toroidal field right here. Like, this is what this is. It's not, some mythological gods in the sky thing. They're just simply, trying to, I don't know. I don't know, man. There's a lot of questions that I have now with this whole Zodiac thing. For me, it's like, you have all of these different cultures, and, hundreds of years ago, all of them had the same TV channel at night. They all had the same television channel, except for some of them were in different, locations, so they didn't get the signals as well as others. But they just simply watched the sky and then told stories about the sky. Did I kill the conversation?
Yeah. No, I thought my phone cut out there.
No, I'm just checking out his YouTube channel. It's more of the same thing, just a whiteboard, and I guess he's explaining stuff. It makes it kind of impossible to watch while you're doing something else.
Yeah, I watched him a lot more before he came on to Glowbusters, and then when I got to actually talk to him and ask him a couple questions, it dawned on me that he hasn't played with, a lot of these forces and stuff that he's talking about. Because there's some basic stuff that, just you didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, that's cool, but yeah, just a little bit more applied physics.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how you really have to work. It's great having ideas and trying to, reverse engineer it into what we actually do, but you have to know what we can actually do. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Or what's even
absolutely.
possible, Then the whole ring magnet thing he was on. Like, man, a ring magnet does not create a magnetic field when it's set up like you're having it here. It doesn't create the magnetic field that measure and see here. It just doesn't. Yeah, that's the one that's when Cami was like, okay, it's interesting, but yeah, he's not going to even, because Cami was trying to show him, look, this is what a picture of a ring magnetic field looks like. Under a ferrocell, under magnetic film, that you see the field in. It just doesn't. The field lines collapse in on each other. There is no magnetic field that extends out from here because the North and South Pole are right next to each other. Yeah, it's just little stuff like that made it hard for me to keep watching. We are right at our last break.
We are indeed.
Where's the music?
Let the music play.
Give me beat, boy, free my soul. Drift away. What you got first, Josh?
This was Trav's request from the Beths. Expert in a dying field. And I guess that could be in.
Really, I see.
Hey? Yes, it is. That's how you know it's true.
Yeah, it was sad what happened to him or them.
It really is. I mean, it would be such a non-fucking thing these days, I think. Oh, they were lip syncing in what they was supposed to be a live concert? Oh my gosh. It's crazy how many people do it now, and it's just sort of accepted.
Mm-hmm. No big deal.
And this was such a huge deal at the time.
What a controversy.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Milli Vanilli. All right. What did you just say, Zach?
Takes me back.
Yep, weird times all around. I guess every time you live in is a weird fucking time. It just shows that times get weirder. All right, we're going to take a little break. We got fourth and final segment coming up right after this. Good God, I've got too many mices on my desk. I think I've said that already. But that's just because it's true. Here we go. This is all I needed. Just this. Little freeworld.fm. Stick around. We'll be right back for the fourth and final. Right after this is the Beths. Expert in a dying field.
Can we erase our history? Is it as easy as this? Plausible deniability. I swear I've never heard of it. And I can close the door on us, but the room still exists, and I know you're in it. Thousand phrases I've memorized, thousands of lines on the page. All of my notes in a desolate part I haven't touched in an age. And I can burn the evidence, but I can't get the pain, and I can't forget it. Does it feel to be an expert in a dying field? And how do you know it's over when you can't let go? You can't let go, you can't stop, you can't rewind. Love is learned over time, till you're an expert in a dying field. The city is painted with memory. The water will never run clear. The birds and the bees and the flowers and trees, they know that we've both been here. And I can clean the concrete for the worst of the year, but I'll come back to it. How does it feel to be an expert in a dying field? And how do you know it's over when you can't let go? You can't let go, you can't stop, you can't rewind. Love is learned over time, till you're an expert in a dying field. Can we erase our history? Is it as easy as this? Maybe in other realities the road never took this twist. And I can close the door on us, but the rift still exists. Does it yeah, you can't stop, can't rewind. Still you're an expert in a dying field. Expert in a dying field.
Welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the Ironworks right here. Truth Tripping. Good God. You know what? Only, again, half dozen years just gets those neural pathways completely ingrained because we are on freeworld.fm, not the other one. Anybody been over to the other one lately? What's going on over there? Anything?
No, haven't. Nah. Wonder if they're still playing our shows. If they were doing Mark Sargent's.
I was wondering the same. Or just got them on repeat. Because again, that's a big pile of server space that we occupy.
See that last GIF I put in? I just started cracking up as soon as I saw it. Made me laugh, like, out loud. Just a giant snowball being thrown at the child running, and it just totally wipes him out. That's a horrible adult right there. It's just horrible. Poor little guy.
Hey, you guys mind if I bring up something?
Yeah, have at it.
So, what's your understanding like of the the origin story of the zodiac, because again, pretty much worldwide, there's only one zodiac, and they all have the same references: Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, Orion, and all of this stuff. But you know, if you think about the different cultures around the world hundreds and thousands of years ago, they didn't all call Orion Orion, and you know, all of this, that, and the other stuff. But I'm sure that they all had scientists and, you know, shaman who were watching the skies and trying to understand it, talking about it. So my question becomes, like, when did the zodiac, right? The zodiac comes from the Greek combination of where we get zoology. Zoe, I think it is. Zoe is the word for life, and then the prefix refers to a circle, right? So it's a circle of animals. It's a circle of life. But they all then call, you know, you got Capricorn and Sagittarius and Aquarius and all of these. Like, when did those things become those things in a story? And why did they choose to call it Orion? And why did they choose? Because it doesn't look like what they say it is. None of the stars, like the Big Dipper, looks like a Big Dipper, right? It looks like something you're going to ladle out water so you can sip it on, you know, but it doesn't look like a bear. So my question is, where did that mythology come from and why?
So are we talking just the zodiacal signs, or are we talking about all the constellations in general?
I would say that the zodiacal signs, because that seems to be the primary focus, especially when you think about, you know, biblical imagery and whatever. There's 12 signs, there's 12 apostles, there's 12 disciples, there's 12 tribes. So the zodiac, you know, seems to take a pretty strong stance in, you know, the culture's, I don't know, understanding.
Well, I know the Chinese zodiac is different, so I'm not sure who started it. Like the Chinese is all, the Western has other besides animals.
Well, okay, so like the year of the rat, the year of the snake, and the year of the dragon, and all that kind of stuff. I guess I'm, you know, like, but again, like, how did they? Because if you think about looking up in the night sky, I know that you can see the Big Dipper there, but let's say, you know, imagine you're starting to look at the sky for the first time 500 years ago. Like, which stars do you pick out to make your design? Like, you could make them make anything. Connect the dots.
Exactly. Who puts the numbers for to connect the dots?
Well, it says here the division of the ecliptic into the zodiacal signs originates in Babylonian astronomy during the first half of the first millennium BC. The zodiac draws on stars in earlier Babylonian star catalogs, such as the MUL API, so Millepine catalog, which was compiled around 1000 BC, claims Wikipedia.
Okay, but how does that get us closer to, like, understanding why they decided to talk about the stars the way they did?
Well, that's a harder question.
Well, it's going to help put the society into perspective. It's not going to be... Right, we can cross off a lot of things as to why it was that way.
If we're just thinking about humans in general, looking up at the night sky, obviously they're going to wonder, what's that light in the sky? And they come up with stories, and I don't think you'd need a reason. I think just common human curiosity would sort of, you know, like make somebody talk about it or make up a story.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Well, no, in college, I read a...
Go ahead, Walt.
I read something. It may have been an article. It may have been in a book. But it was talking about in, you know, ancient times, traveling on horseback or camelback or whatever, and that the directions that these astrological symbols would send you off in, if you were using them as guidance in the sky, like directions, coincided with those things. This area took you to the sea where you could go fish for fucking fish or crabs or whatever. This direction took you to an area where there were certain animals and spices. And, that was kind of something that was either being talked about at the time. Probably one of the magazines. I used to get quite a few different crazy things during my college years. So, yeah, that one just kind of always stuck in my head as interesting. I don't really, I haven't pursued it since then, but anyway, go ahead, sir.
I just think that that's probably, indicative of the fact that the stars travel the slowest in the sky, so that you have that length of time. Because, like, if you were trying to follow the moon and the sun, you're going to be 50 minutes off. You're going to be 50 minutes off every day from the moon, so you can't, move by that. So the stars are moving the slowest, so that they have that stability for you to move in that direction. If that's going to back up what Walt is saying, right? You're going to have something that's stable so that you can go in that direction for a length of time.
I'm seeing that so I guess you have your Western, you have your the Chinese zodiac, and then there's a Hindu zodiac. Huh, I didn't know that. And then it goes.
I just find it interesting that it's a little bit similar, I think, to the narrative that we've been given in terms of big pharma and how medicine surpasses all of the witch doctory, Yahoo, snake oil of the homeopathic, herbal, shamanistic perspective of the 100 years ago. That's so outdated. We don't believe in that magic woo-woo stuff. Here, just take this pill. This is our magic. So, cultures for thousands of years were telling stories about the sky, and then NASA comes along and says, oh, yeah, all of that zodiacal stuff, you can't predict anything by the sky. The sky's got nothing to do with us. Look how big and vast and empty and void and meaningless everything else is. It's just massive. There's no meaning anywhere. Just interesting that it seems to follow the same narrative. They're trying to poo-poo an old system that's reliable and authentic and true for their bullshit.
Yeah, they're saying that they believe it all started with the Babylonians and then was passed down to the Egyptians from there and then spread from there. According to this story, at least.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the point source per se. I'm just wondering, why those characters were chosen rather than just, I don't know, just naming them, whatever, XPQR, some kind of code that's just in terms of classification or filing systems,
Yeah. I guess in a way it's kind of like a filing system almost. You have at least these 12 groups of stars, and then you could learn each star in the individual groups. They kind of tried to break it down a little bit. Like, yeah, knowing all these stars is a pain in the butt, but if I know at least one star, I can correlate that with this other group of stars here. But yeah, it is an interesting story that it tells. How there's so many stories that have been written that kind of coincide with what's going on in the sky. Stories as old as time. Nice, Nemo got himself some warmth.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, but it's interesting though that if you look at the zodiac, it's what I've seen when people try to explain it is they say that Zoe refers to animal life, but that's not necessarily true. It's just the word is just life. In fact, it's used in the Bible to refer to eternal life. So the word for life in that phrase in the Bible is Zoe. So the sky is the wheel in the sky that keeps on turning. It is the circle of life, right? It governs our life. So that if you think about whether or not, this is the other thing that's interesting, that I think most people who look into the zodiac think that it's your birth, sun in the house of the, blah, blah, blah. But there are channels out there that go a little bit deeper, and they're like, no. You need to know the month of your conception. You need to know the month of your own Big Bang, when you just exploded into existence through that powerful, exchange of energy between the feminine and the masculine, your mother and father. Like, that's what you need to know, because they understood that the sky correlated with, personalities and perhaps destinies, so to speak,
Yeah, but I mean,
I've had my chart plotted out. It was really weird. It kind of nailed me on my personality traits and stuff.
Who did you have do it?
Named Mari, and I forget the gentleman's name. We had met them at a Flat Earth in, I think, Denver. But somebody that she knew. She didn't do it herself. She knew somebody that was. Yeah, they drew them out. They're on big, giant poster board. Not giant, but good, whatever, 14 by 10 or 14 by 12. Just these nice size poster boards. They're all drawn out. They have, it's really cool. All the different houses, and they're really in depth, very in depth. And Jaron, Knodel, his is insane. The way everything lines up, how symmetrical, and like she said, she'd never seen anybody like his before.
What were the implications? Like, you said that you felt like your personality was represented pretty well, but in terms of like other things, did you see anything else that was helpful?
I don't know. I'd have to go find it and read over.
Okay.
This was a couple years ago when they did it. Yeah, really neat though. They did one for all of us here: Bob, Cami, Jaron, and myself.
Yeah.
And it kind of spooked me enough to where, like, yeah, we'd like to sit down and discuss with you. And this, and I was like, I don't want to know anymore. Good. Yeah, I don't want to,
Yeah, see, I've never felt that when I've looked at that stuff. I've always thought that this is so ambiguous that because some of the traits were me, but some of the traits were Cancer, and some of the traits were something else. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't specific enough. So I was never impressed with it so far.
Yeah, it spooked me a little bit. And I guess it's all in whoever's really doing it, if they are competent at it or not. There's a lot of charlatans out there that are just going to throw shit at the wall, see what sticks.
Right.
Try to sell that to you. But yeah, this was done out of love, for free, And you could tell just by all the different information on each of us that it wasn't something they just randomly went and picked out of a book and jotted down. A lot of love and to it.
Yeah, I mean, when I've listened to certain people talk about the charts, even I've got a personal friend and she's totally into it. But whenever she geeks out, I sit there thinking to myself, what the Smurf are you talking about? Like, nothing you're saying makes any sense. Nothing makes sense. Like, I'm going to have to ask you to interpret what you just said, because what you just said isn't like the way people talk, and it doesn't make any sense. And that's pretty much like my reaction whenever I've heard anybody try to talk about, oh, this is the house of this, that, just going through this. I'm like, what are you saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those, they may know what they're talking about, but they're like speaking language. When can you mute up for a second?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. like when you're studying all these different fields of physics or even gemology, like the vocabulary difference between gemologist and geologist is crazy. They'll use the same words and they mean like the exact opposite. It's almost like they designed these two fields to argue with each other, if that makes any sense. And if you don't know the certain vernacular for that certain field, you're not going to know what these people are talking about. They're using words that, you know, normal people can use, but they'll mean a totally different thing.
Planned confusion. Here, if you guys start to talk about this particular subject, you're going to get all fucked up because we're going to use the same words and you're not going to be able to communicate very efficiently between each other. So fuck you.
Yeah, English, I think that's what English was designed to do, was designed to confuse people.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more to that point. It's fucking crazy to think about that, but it's really, really too coincidental, too perfect that our language is so. It's an amalgamation of, well, everything Latin. I think, you know, all of the languages I think stem from Latin per se, but you know, yeah, it's interesting to think about English. That's what I think. I think this was a planned language. They absolutely created this language to do one thing, and that's what Josh just said, I think.
Fusion.
And then that next step would be legalese. Where they do the same thing. We'll just use the same words that you use in normal English, but we'll just define them a little bit differently. So if you want to come and talk to us, you can think you're talking our language, but we'll know if you're really talking our language or not. And if you don't make sense and you're trying to talk our language, we'll just throw all your shit out.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I try to depict it when I talk about this with other people is to think about the natural world and the corporate world, the natural world and the fictional world. So let's just call, for the metaphor, we're talking about two different game systems. One is the game of life, just go with that idea, and the other one is the game of Monopoly. And so our world has been pretty much placed under the umbrella of Monopoly. But we still like exist in the world of life. And so those two systems seem to be the same one because, you know, we don't know how to differentiate the two. But it's just what Josh was saying. It's like, okay, I understand that you're talking to me with the rules for Monopoly and you're trying to apply them to me, but I'm over here in the game of life and I don't live in your world, even though you're trying to impose that world on me or that game system.
That's right. And I think it's that matching of language is for that imposition of the will. You understand? And again, I don't think that when the court uses the term understand, it's not necessarily do you stand under what I'm saying? I get there's a lot of implications there, but there's also times that a cigar is just a cigar. And they just want to make sure you have comprehension of the words that they're telling you, or if they need to find you some other way to get you to comprehend.
Well, yeah, I think that that's legitimate to say because, you know, one of the rights that we have is to understand the charges if we're brought before, you know, a jury or a judge, right? I can't be tried for something that I don't understand, you know, which is why they have like mentally handicapped people are not necessarily held accountable for certain things because they don't understand. They have a limited comprehension of what they did or you know, they don't get how their actions were this or that. So, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying to a certain extent.
Yeah. In California, they'll call it a 5150. Which means if you are not mentally competent, they can maybe hold you for 48 hours to test your competency.
Shout out to Van Halen.
Van Halen or Van Hagar?
That would be Van Hagar, 5150, right?
Oh, I don't know. I was just trying to get Walter riled up.
Yeah, I mean, that was their.
Well, we've almost whooped this thing down.
We have.
Not a fan of Hagar. Oh,
No,
there,
me
Walter.
neither. I wasn't either. I liked Van Halen. I liked Sammy Hagar. But when they got together, they improved each other's psychosity.
What? Oh, excuse me.
Blessed art thou, good sir.
Oh, that was 2. So I got one more in me?
Well,
Nope.
double, triple blessed you are.
I think. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're right there. Right there we be.
Thank you all. Thank you, Nuka. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, everybody there in chat. Plural.
And everybody.
Stay warm out there if you're in the place.
Yeah, definitely do your damnedest to stay warm. Keep your plants and your pets safe. Love you guys. Thank you all.
Who was that? Bob Barker used to say, get your pet spayed and neutered.
You go get neutered, Bob. Yeah, Hank was just like, what the fuck did he just say? I don't think so.
Y'all just stay away from me. All right, well, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. It's going to be a cool week here in Missouri. So hopefully y'all can stay warm. After tomorrow, I think we'll be up into the positive temperatures, so that's a good sign. Yeah, really, we still got a couple minutes, so I'm just kind of feeling.
You want to sing the song?
I mean,
you know what? Real quick. You know what this world needs? At least this country?
A few more.
Another Rogers.
Another who?
Mr. Rogers. Stuff I learned 5, 6 years old. There's adults that still don't get it. It's like, dude, go watch Mr. Rogers. He taught us all this stuff when we were very young, and it still applies today. It still holds true. We need Mr. Rogers. My 2 cents.
I think Special K in chat and the Joker from Batman both agree that this world needs an enema.
Yeah, Zack, you didn't pause long enough because that's exactly what I was going to jump in and say.
Yeah, we do. A lot of good life lessons learned by Mr. Rogers.
Kanye
Don't
West
forget,
should be the next Mr. Rogers.
Don't forget Davy and Goliath. You remember those claymation guys?
Sure, Davy.
Love y'all.
Yep, that's it. We've done it. We filled it. Many thanks. We'll see you all on Wednesday morning for more of the Ironworks right here on freeworld.fm. Get it right this time. Till then, guys, be good, be well, do good, and do well.